Hey there, Internet. Tomorrow, as I'm sure you're probably aware, March 17th, all across the world, people will gather together in large celebrations to commemorate something. Public intoxication, the color green, red beards, I don't know. What on earth is St. Patrick's Day about? So that's it. Just kidding, I didn't actually look anything up because my computer's not even on. I already looked it up on my laptop and I'm gonna tell you right now, what is the deal with St. Patrick's Day? Well, first of all, as the name obviously implies, it is based on the history, the life, the whatever of Saint Patrick, a Catholic saint. Confusingly, on this holiday, we've decided to keep the word saint, whereas on Valentine's Day, we dropped it a long time ago, but maybe that's because Patrick's Day just doesn't sound nearly as cool. Sorry if your name is Patrick. According to legend/history, St. Patrick lived sometime in the late 4th or early 5th century AD in the land of England. But at a young age, or perhaps when he was a wee laddie, he was captured by Gaelic slavers and taken to the land of Ireland to be a slave. He grew up, he was a shepherd, he wandered about being not actually Irish, and, life was pretty solid. Actually, probably life was terrible because he was a slave, but there's not a lot of detail available. Whatever he was up to specifically, at some point in his life in Ireland, he found Christianity. He came to faith in God and he decided to commit his life to following him. Sometime around maybe the age of 16, he apparently had a vision telling him to flee to the coast of Ireland where he would find a ship that would take him back to England. He did just that. He escaped and huzzah, he was free. He grew up more, I guess, because I already said he grew up, but he was not very old when he escaped Ireland, supposedly. And as he grew up, he pursued a career in the Christian church as a priest or a bishop or as a something, I don't remember exactly what. He was a clergyman. Well, as luck would have it, or perhaps providence is a better term, later in his life, he believed that God was calling him to go back to the land of Ireland and bring them Christianity, which is probably not a super easy thing to do when you were once a slave to some people and God's like, hey, please tell them about Jesus so that they can be saved and live eternally with me. And also you. But his faith was stronger than his doubts. He returned to Ireland, he spread Christianity, and if the legends are to be believed, it was a fairly successful conversion. This is the part of the story that you might have heard of where St. Patrick drove the snakes out of Ireland. There were never any literal snakes. That's a more metaphorical reference to the fact that by bringing Christianity to Ireland, he helped drive the occult druids out of Ireland. Which is cool, but not nearly as fun to make images of St. Patrick like beating snakes off of the island. So, with his mission to spread Christianity fairly successful, St. Patrick just kind of lived out the rest of his days and, according to the Catholic Church's historical calendar, died on March 17th, hence the fact that St. Patrick's Day is March 17th. So that explains the actual Christian Catholic Church holiday, but that doesn't really tell you a lot about the modern America or apparently international interpretation of St. Patrick's Day. We're talking the wear green, carry a shamrock, pinch people who aren't wearing green, and imbibe large amounts of alcohol version of St. Patrick's Day, or what I like to call the dumb version of St. Patrick's Day. Well, the green is fairly obvious. It's pretty much like the color of Ireland, and so that you just wear green. The shamrock is a little bit more interesting. Legend has it that when St. Patrick was evangelizing Ireland, he would use the shamrock as a metaphor to describe the Christian Trinity of God, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Not a great metaphor, by the way, but supposedly that's what he did, and thus, shamrock, St. Patrick, ta-da. Which leaves us with one final thing, the unfortunately largest part of St. Patrick's Day for most people, the drink until you drop aspect of it. That can be explained by the fact that in addition to St. Patrick's Day, the Catholic Church and many churches across the world are currently observing Lent. That is the 40 days leading up to Easter, where Christians often give up certain things and practice light asceticism, or at the very least extra self-control in order to prepare themselves via devotion for Easter upcoming. Well, historically, you're not really supposed to be doing the drinking alcohols during Lent, but the Catholic Church on St. Patrick's Day, in order to aid in the fluidity of celebrations, historically would lift the ban on alcohol for the one day. Of course, if you've got a whole bunch of people who for 40 days aren't supposed to be drinking, but on one day they're allowed to, they're gonna go a little bit overboard. And of course, that's the one thing that we like to remember and celebrate most nowadays. Because people just be kind of crazy. And that is the deal with St. Patrick's Day. Before you go, I've got one more piece of totally unrelated news. Allie and I have decided that we're gonna start doing some live streaming and or gaming videos right here on this channel. We haven't nailed down a day, but if you click that subscribe button and then the bell, you can get notified whenever we are about to go live so you don't miss anything out. What are we gonna be playing? Well, we're starting off with Kirby Star Allies, the newest game for the Switch, which I am super excited to play because I love Kirby and gosh darn it, he's just so stinking cute. We're probably gonna be playing either tonight or tomorrow sometime, so seriously, click that button. You don't wanna miss it. It's honestly pretty stinking fucking hilarious because I've played way too many video games over the course of my 24 years of life, and she's played hardly any at all. So there's this great, like, conflict of how on earth are we supposed to cooperate and play together, and it's gonna be hilarious. As long as it doesn't end our marriage. Until next week, deuces.